اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم ارزقني حج بيتك الحرام في عامه. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم رب شهر رمضان الذي أنزلت فيه القرآن وافترضت على عبادك فيه الصيام، صل على محمد وآل محمد وارزقني حج بيتك الحرام في عام هذا وفي كل عام، واغفر لتلك الذنوب العظام فإنه لا يغفرها غيرك يا رحمن يا علام. وعلى محمد وأجل فرجه. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم إني أفتتح الثناء بحمدك وأنت مسدد للصواب بمنك، وأيقنت أنك أنت أرحم الراحمين في موضع العفو والرحمة، وأشد المعاقبين في موضع النكال والنقمة، وأعظم المتجبرين في موضع الكبرياء والعظمة. اللهم أذنت لي في دعائك ومسألتك فاسمع يا سميع مدحتي، وأجب يا رحيم دعوتي، وقل يا غفور عثرتي. فكم يا إلهي من كربة قد فرجتها، وحموم قد كشفتها، وعثرة قد أقلتها، ورحمة قد نشرتها، وهلقة بلاء قد فككتها. الحمد لله الذي لم يتخذ صاحبة ولا ولد، ولم يكن له شريك في الملك، ولم يكن له ولي من الذل، وكبره تكبيرا. الله أكبر ولله الحمد. الحمد لله بجميع محامده كلها على جميع نعمه كلها. الحمد لله الذي لا مضاد له في ملكه ولا منازع له في أمره. الحمد لله الذي لا شريك له في خلقه ولا شبيه له في عظمته. الحمد لله الفاشف الخلق أمره، وحمده الظاهر بالكرم مجده، الباسط بالجود يده، الذي لا تنقص خزائنه ولا تزيد كثرة العطاء إلا جودا وكرما، إنه هو العزيز الوهاب. اللهم إني أسألك قليلا من كثير مع حاجة به عليه عظيمة، وغناك عنه قديم، وهو عندي كثير وهو عليك سهل يسير. اللهم إن عفوك عن ذنبي، وتجاوزك عن خطيئتي، وصفحك عن ظلمي، وسترك عن قبيح عملي، وعلمك عن كثير جرم عندما كان من خطأ وعمدي. أتمعني في أن أسألك ما لا أستوجبه منك، الذي رزقتني من رحمتك، وأريتني من قدرتك، وعرفتني من إجابتك، فصرت أدعوك آمنا وأسألك مستعنسا، لا خائفا ولا وجلا، مدلا عليك فيما قصدت فيه إليك، فإن ابتعني أتبت بجهلي عليك، ولعل الذي يبتعني هو خير لعلمك بعاقبة الأمور، فلم أرى مولا كريما أصبر على عبد لئيم منك علي يا رب. إنك تدعوني فأولي عنك، وتتحبب إلي فأتبغض إليك، وتتودد إلي فلا أقبل منك كأني ليتطول عليك، فلم يمنعك ذلك من الرحمة والإحسان إلي وتفضل علي بجودك وكرمك، فرحم عبدك الجاهل وجد عليه بفضل إحسانك، إنك جواد كريم. الحمد لله المالك الملك، مجري الفلك، مسخر الرياح، فالق الإصباح، الديان الدين رب العالمين. الحمد لله على حلمه بعد علمه، والحمد لله على عفوه بعد قدرته، والحمد لله على طول أناته في غضبه وهو قادر على ما يريد. الحمد لله خالق الخلق باسط الرزق فالق الأسباب ذي الجلال والإكرام والفضل والإنعام الذي بعد فلا يرى وقرب فشهد النجوى تبارك وتعالى. الحمد لله الذي ليس له منازع يعادل ولا شبيه يشاكل ولا ظهير يعاضد قهر بعزته الأعزة، فتواضع لعظمته العظمى فبلغ بقدرته ما يشاء. الحمد لله الذي يجيبني حين أنادي ويسر علي كل عورة وأنا عاصي، ويعظم النعمة علي فلا أجازي. فكم من موهبة هنية قد أعطاني، وعظيمة مخوفة قد كفاني، وبهجة مونقة قد أراني، فأثني عليه حامدا وأذكره مسبحا. الحمد لله الذي لا يحتك حجاب ولا يغلق بابه ولا يرد سائل ولا يخيب آمل. والحمد لله الذي يؤمن الخائفين وينجي الصالحين ويرفع المستضعفين ويوضع المستكبرين ويهلك ملوكا ويستخلف آخرين. والحمد لله قاسم الجبارين مبير الظالمين مدرك الحاربين كال الظالمين صريخ المستصرخين موضع حاجات الطالبين معتمد المؤمنين. الحمد لله الذي من خشيته ترعد السماء وسكانها وترجف الأرض وعمارها وتموج البحار ومن يسبح في غمراتها. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. الحمد لله الذي يخلق ولم يخلق ويرزق ولا يرزق ويطعم ولا يطعم ويميت الأحياء ويحيي الموتى وهو حي لا يموت بيده الخير وهو على كل شيء قدير. اللهم صل على محمد عبدك ورسولك وأمينك وصفيك وحبيبك وخيرتك من خلقك وحافظ سرك ومبلغ رسالاتك أفضل وأحسن وأجمل وأكمل وأزكى وأمنى وأطيب وأطهر وأسنى وأكثر ما صليت وباركت وترحمت وتحننت وسلمت على أحد من عبادك وأنبيائك ورسلك وصفتك وأهل الكرامة عليك من خلقك. اللهم صل على علي أمير المؤمنين ووصي رسول رب العالمين عبدك ووليك وأخي رسولك وحجتك على خلقك وآيتك الكبرى والنبي العظيم. وصل على صديقة الطاهرة فاطمة سيدة النساء العالمين. وصل على سبطي الرحمة وإمامي الحدى الحسن والحسين سيد شباب أهل الجنة. وصل على أئمة المسلمين علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي والخلف الهادي المهدي حججك على عبادك وأمنائك في بلادك صلاة كثيرة دائمة. اللهم وصل على ولي أمرك القائم المؤمل والعدل المنتظر وحفه بملائكتك المقربين وأيده بروح القدس يا رب العالمين. اللهم اجعله الداعي إلى كتابك والقائم بدينك استخلف في الأرض كما استخلفت الذين من قبل. مكن له دينه الذي ارتضيت له أبدله من بعد خوفه أمنا يعبدك لا يشرك بك شيئا. اللهم أعزه وعزز به وانصره وانتصر به وانصره نصرا عزيزا وافتح له فتحا يسيرا واجعل له من لدنك سلطانا نسيرا. اللهم أظهر به دينك وسنة نبيك حتى لا يستخفي بشيء من الحق مخافة أحد من الخلق. اللهم إنا نرغب إليك في دولة كريمة تعز بها الإسلام وأهله وتضل بها النفاق وأهله وتجعلنا فيها من الدعاة إلى طاعتك والقادة إلى سبيلك وترزقنا بها كرامة الدنيا والآخرة. اللهم ما عرفتنا من الحق فحملنا وما قصرنا عنه فبلغنا. اللهم المن به شعثنا، وشعب به صدعنا، وارتق به فتقنا، وكثر به قلتنا، وعزز به ذلتنا، وأغن به عائلنا، واقض به عن مغرمنا، واجبر به فقرنا، وصد به قلتنا، ويسر به عسرنا، وبيض به وجوهنا، وفك به أسرنا، وأنجح به طلبتنا، وأنجز به مواعيدنا، وسجب به دعوتنا، واعتنا به سؤلنا، وبلغنا به من الدنيا والآخرة آمالنا، وعاتنا به فوق رغبتنا يا خير المسؤولين وأوسع المعطين. اشف به صدورنا، واذب به غيظ قلوبنا، واهدنا به لما اختلف فيه من الحق بإذنك، إنك تهدي من تشاء إلى صراط مستقيم. وانصرنا به على عدوك وعدونا إله الحق آمين. اللهم إنا نشكو إليك فقد نبينا صلواتك عليه وآله، وغيبة ولينا، وكثرة عدونا، وقلة عددنا، وشدة الفتن بنا، وتظاهر الزمان علينا. فصل على محمد وآله، وأعنا على ذلك بفتح منك تعجله، وبالضر تكشفه، ونصر تعزه، وسلطان حق تظهره، ورحمة منك تجللناها، وعافية منك تلبسناها، برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم برحمتك في الصالحين فأدخلنا، وفي عليين فارفعنا، وبكأس من عين سلسبيلا فاسقنا، ومن الحور عين برحمتك فزوجنا، ومن الولدان المخلدين كأنهم لؤلؤ مكنون فأخدمنا، ومن ثمار الجنة ولحوم الطير فأطعمنا، ومن ثياب السندس والحرير والاستبرق فألبسنا، وليلة القدر وحج بيتك الحرام وقتلا في سبيلك فوفق لنا، وصالح الدعاء والمسألة فاستجب لنا، وإذا جمعت الأولين والآخرين يوم القيامة فرحمنا، وبراءة من النار فاكتب لنا، وفي جهنم فلا تغلنا، وفي عذابك وحوانك فلا تبتلنا، ومن الزقوم والضريع فلا تطعمنا، ومع الشياطين فلا تجعلنا، وفي النار على وجوهنا فلا تكببنا، ومن ثياب النار وسرابيل القطران فلا تلبسنا، ومن كل سوء يا لا إله إلا أنت، بحق لا إله إلا أنت، فنجنا فنجنا فنجنا. اللهم إني أسألك أن تجعل فيما تقضي وتقدر من الأمر المحتوم في الأمر الحكيم من القضاء الذي لا يرد ولا يبدل، أن تكتبني من حجاج بيتك الحرام المبرور حجهم، المشكور سعيهم، المغفور ذنوبهم، المكفر عن سيئاتهم، وأن تجعل فيما تقضي وتقدر أن تطيل عمري في خير وعافية، وتوسع في رزقي، وتجعلني ممن تنتصر به لدينك ولا تستبدل بغيره. أعوذ بجلال وجهك الكريم أن ينقضي عني شهر رمضان، أو يطلع الفجر من ليلة هذه ولك قبلي تبعت أو ذنب تعذبني عليه. Page 142. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إلهي وقف السائلون ببابك، ولاذ الفقراء بجنابك، ووقفت سفينة المساكين على ساحل بحر جودك وكرمك، يرجون الجواز إلى ساحة رحمتك ونعمتك. إلهي إن كنت لا ترحم في هذا الشهر الشريف إلا من أخلص لك في صيامه وقيامه، فمن للمذنب المقصر إذا غرق في بحر ذنوبه وآثامه. إلهي إن كنت لا ترحم إلا المطيعين فمن للعاصين، وإن كنت لا تقبل إلا من العاملين فمن للمقصرين. إله ربها الصائمون، وفاز القائمون، ونجا المخلصون، ونحن عبيدك المذنبون. فارحمنا برحمتك، واعتقنا من النار بعفوك، واغفر لنا ذنوبنا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.
बराए खुशनूदी इमाम ज़माना बुलंद तरीन सलावात। ख़वातीन से गुजारिश है कि आप लोग दरमियान का जो रास्ता है वहाँ से दूसरी तरफ आ जाए। पर्दे का एहतमाम हो चुका है, तो आप लोगों से गुजारिश है कि दरमियान का दरवाज़ा इख्तियार करते हुए, दरमियान में दरवाज़ा है उसको इस्तेमाल कीजिए और वहाँ से मर्दों की तरफ जो हिस्सा है उस तरफ आ जाइए। हेलो हेलो। बराए खुशनूदी इमाम ज़माना बुलंद तरीन सलावात। ख़वातीन से गुजारिश है कि पर्दे का एहतमाम हो चुका, आप लोग इस तरफ तशरीफ़ ले आए ताकि सेशन का आगाज़ किया जा सके। बराए खुशनूदी मौला मुश्किल कुशा बुलंद तरीन सलावात। नारे तकबीर, नारे रिसालत, नारे हैदरी हैदरी हैदरी। बराए खुशनूदी जनाब सैयदा सलामुल अलैहा बुलंद तरीन सलावात।
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وأفضل الصلوات وأتم التسليم على سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا وشفيع ذنوبنا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Tonight is the 8th session on the topic of an overview of Nahj-ul-Balaghah, and unfortunately it will be my last, even though I have indeed enjoyed my nights here in Panjatan Society as I always do, and I did try to make sure that I covered the most important aspects of this very valuable, important book. But I'm sure all of you would, inshallah, be able to benefit from Nahj-ul-Balaghah in the near future by using this as a starting point for you to venture into this very, very valuable book. Now, because last week we weren't able to cover some of the issues that I wanted to speak about when I was doing the workshop on parenting and learning the skill of parenting teens. I will be covering a little bit of that. We don't have any more papers left, so if anyone does have a question left from last week or from today, of course, you can message this number and the question will be read out, or you can just grab the microphone at the end of our program and just ask your particular question. So this is the number here before we continue on with tonight's topic, which is the Rasail of, which is something that I have left out in Wednesday night's session, was a part of the letters of Imam Ali alayhi salam, which I want to cover tonight, and then go on to the last part, which is the wise sayings of Imam Ali alayhi salam. And this is a part of letter 31, which we did read out a section of in the previous session, a letter written by Imam Ali alayhi salam to his son Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba, where he gives him a series of recommendations and advice. I did say that this is something very useful for every youth to read. This is something that every parent should sit their child down and read with them, because a lot of it is not only moral instructions given by Imam Ali to his son Imam Hassan, but also social instructions as well, things that we can use in our social life. And because we've already given an introduction to this particular letter and we have read parts of it, we'll just read this particular part, please.
O my child, make yourself the measure for dealings between you and others.
The measure here means the scale, the mizan, as Imam Ali alayhi salam uses in this expression. Ij'al nafsaka mizanan fima baynaka wa bayna ghayrik. Make yourself a scale that you use between yourself and others. In the scale of you using between yourself and your others are the things that you like for yourself, you should like for others. Other things that you don't like for yourself, you should also not like for others. Carry on.
Thus, you should wish for others what you wish for yourself, and hate for others what you hate for yourself. Do not oppress as you do not like to be oppressed. Do good to others as you like good to be done to you. Regard as bad for yourself whatever you regard as bad for others. Accept that from others which you like others to accept from you. Do not talk about what you do not know, even though what you know may be very little. Do not say to others what you do not like to be said to you.
Girls, sit down, please.
Be informed that self-admiration is contrary to propriety of action and is a calamity for the mind. Therefore, increase your striving and do not become a treasurer for wealth to be inherited by others. When you have been guided on the right path, humble yourself before Allah as much as you can.
Thank you very much. I, of course, wasn't able to cover everything that is necessary to be spoken about for Nahj-ul-Balaghah, but this is another marvel of Imam Ali, where he recited irtijalan, which is spontaneously, this particular khutbah when there was a group of people speaking about the merit and virtue of knowledge and memorizing and things like that. And then he just recited this sermon. The uniqueness of this sermon is that every word that Imam Ali used does not have an alif. There is no alif in this very long khutbah of Imam Ali alayhi salam. How difficult is that? This is a marvel of Imam Ali alayhi salam. Next, another marvel is a khutbah of Imam Ali with no dot. None of the words recited, read out by Imam Ali, irtijalan, again spontaneously. It wasn't something that he had prepared for days or months. No, it was just spontaneous. None of the words that he used had a nuqta, had a dots. There was no ba, no jim, no kha. As you know, in Arabic, there are a lot of letters that have dots in them. And as you can see here, none of the words have any dots. How difficult is that as well? In regards to the wise sayings of Imam Ali, we can say wise sayings, we can say kalimat qisar, short sayings, we can use the word proverbs, we can use the word quotes, we can use the word pieces of advice, statements. All of them fall under this third category after sermons and letters, and that is the short and wise sayings of Imam Ali. 480 of them, which is the regular amount being mentioned in Nahj-ul-Balaghah. However, as I have explained in detail before, there are other books like Ghurar al-Hikam, where there are more than 10,000 of these wise sayings and short quotes from Imam Ali alayhi salam. It is said that these that were selected by Al-Sharif al-Radhi were during his Khilafah as well. Now, seeing that we're going to be using the word wise saying frequently, there's a verse in the Holy Quran which is very important for us to remember and reflect upon when speaking about wanting to give someone wisdom, wanting to give advice, wanting to guide someone. And this is, of course, something fundamental for all of us as Muslims, because we all want to be someone who contributes to another person, either staying on the right path or introducing them to the right path. Ud'u ila sabili rabbika bil hikmati wal maw'izati al hasanah wa jadilhum billati hiya ahsan, and call unto your Lord with wisdom and good advice and fair admonition. Maw'idha means advice, means recommendation. وَجَادِلْهُمْ بِالَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ, and dispute, engage in dialogue and disputes and even debates, بِالَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ, in a good way. How are you going to have a fruitful discussion with someone who has a different view of yours? By attacking them, by insulting their gods, by saying something very bad about those people that they revere and respect very highly, by using weak arguments, by using arguments of mughalata and fallacy. That's not going to be al-mujadala billati hiya ahsan. So this is where we can see that inviting people to the right path, to the path of the Lord, needs to be through education, and also needs to be through education. Sorry, I forgot to change the slide. Needs to be through education and also through reflection and reminding of others as well. And that's why from this ayah, we can see why there is a difference between the word hikmah and the word maw'idha. And the difference here is that hikmah is basically educating, learning, teaching, and maw'idha is reminding and informing someone of what it is that they need to reflect on. Hikmah is about bringing awareness, and maw'idha is about awakening. Sometimes you know about something and you are well informed of that, but you need to be reminded. You need to awaken yourself from that slumber that you have fell into. There are a few wise sayings that I have chosen. Can I ask the young girls to come and join us, please? Very, very noisy. Girls, hello? I need to speak Urdu with them, maybe. Girls, Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Wise saying number one. So, as I said, there are 480 hikam in Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Alhamdulillah, we've been going good the last couple of nights, but now we had to break the record. What was I saying? Wise sayings, 480 of them, right? And of course, I'm not going to be able to cover all of them. So I selected a few on different topics. Most of them are very, very popular, very common. Remember what I said in one of the early nights, that it is really important for us to memorize at least some of the sayings of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, and how it would empower us, not only in our Arabic vocabulary, but also in us sharing these words of wisdom and such beautiful proverbs with others as well. And that will, of course, give us not only that sense of pride that we are re-quoting something given by Imam Ali, but also it's going to be something that someone really sits down and contemplates on and thinks about, because these are really beautiful kind of statements. Imam Ali, in wise saying number one, and it's interesting that Al-Sharif Al-Radhi chose this as the first wise saying, because fitna is really, really dangerous. It is really damaging. It is really scary. Imam Ali says, Kun fil fitnati kabni labun, and be in fitna, when facing fitna, be like a 2-year-old baby camel. Ibn Labun, Labun from the word Laban means milk, right? And Ibn Labun is one of the ages of a camel, because the Arabs have for camels many, many different names and titles based on their age group. And a Ibn Labun is a 2-year-old camel. Now, this 2-year-old camel is too fragile to be used to ride on, and also too young to be able for them to be milked from as well. And this is why he says, Imam Ali says, La dhahrun fayurkab, wa la dar'un fayuhlab. Be in a fitna like a 2-year-old camel, where it is still too young to be used to ride on, to mount on, and also not strong enough for you not young enough or strong enough, not strong enough to ride on, nor having the ability for you to be able to milk from it. What does this mean? Obviously, it means that at times of fitna, we need to be very, very cautious, that we don't ride the wave of fitna, either the wave for the fitna or the wave on the opposite direction of the fitna. When there are two conflicting issues happening, we need to be very, very careful and wise in how we react to it. Does this mean, and unfortunately this hadith from Imam Ali is used in the wrong context, that it refers to, you know, when it comes to problems and issues, you've got dramas in the society, you've got a bad ruler, there's a lot of fitna happening in the government, stay quiet, go home, close your doors, don't do anything. No, that's definitely not what it means. So I'm getting louder and the girls are getting louder. So I don't know what I'm going to do tonight. If we can ask them to come inside here or give them some sleeping pills or something. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. I'm very sorry. I apologize. I think it's my fault. I'm very easily distracted, unfortunately. And you can't blame them. It's iftar time. It's night time. It's Friday night and they want to play with their children. So it's not their fault. But inshallah, we'll be able to benefit from tonight's session, all of us. So I think here it's really important for us to reflect on this wise saying from Imam Ali, because anything that A'immatu Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam have said, we can't take it within its black and white context itself, but we have to use it in respect to the other information and advice given to us by Imam Ali. Look at what Imam Ali had said to his sons, Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein, where he said, Kuna lil-zalimi khasma wa lil-mazlumi auna. Be an enemy to the zalim and be an assistance to the mazlum. If it was the case that in times of fitna, you should never ever involve yourself whatsoever, then why is it that Imam Ali in this place and many other places, it says you have to stand up for your rights. You have to go against the zalim. So what we can understand from this is that when there is a lot of confusion, when there is confusion and you really don't know what is right or what is wrong, and especially when it's believers, when it's mu'minun, righteous, pious believers having some kind of conflict between each other, we need to make sure that we don't get dragged into it. And this happens everywhere, and that's why it is so important for Sharif al-Radhi to have mentioned it in this particular process, in sequence. Why saying number 3? This is, of course, again, something to do with personal traits. How are we able to rid ourselves of personal traits? Imam Ali alayhi salam, he says, Al-bukhlu ar wal-jubnu manqasah wal-faqru yakhrusu al-fitan an hujjatih wal-muqillu gharibun fi baldatih. Can you read that, please, Abbas?
Miserliness is a shame. Cowardice is a defect. Poverty disables an intelligent man from arguing his case. And a destitute person is a stranger in his own hometown.
Thank you very much. Of course, there is a section here where it says, وَالصَّبْرُ شُجَاعَةٌ, of course, which basically means patience is bravery as well. Wise saying number 6. Imam Ali alayhi salam says, "Man radiya an nafsih kathara al-sakhitu alayh."
Whoever admires himself attracts many opponents against him.
Confidence is good. Being confident is good, but being overconfident is not good. Being someone who feels that there are areas of improvement in ourselves is always very, very important. When I say that I am kamil mukammal, when I am that I am perfect, when I have so much admiration to myself, right? I'm going to get a lot of people who oppose me. I'm going to get a lot of enemies. Why? Because I am so self-absorbed that I don't like criticism. I don't want to listen to advice given to me by other people. I'm not interested in listening to all of these things that other people have to say about me, because I see myself in absolute perfection. I am very happy with who I am, and therefore, me being flawless, I'm not interested in what it is that others have to say. What's that going to do? It's going to increase the number of people who hate me. And that is, of course, very, very natural. That's going to happen. Wise saying number 34. This is, again, Imam Ali giving advice to his son, Imam Hassan. This is a long hikmah as well, and I've only chosen a part of it where he says, Ya bunay, ihfaz anni arba'an wa arba'a. Memorize and learn 4 things from 4 things.
Imam Ali ibn Abu Talib alayhi salam said the following to his son Al-Hasan alayhi salam: O son, learn 4 things and a further 4 things from me. Nothing will harm you if you practice them. The richest of all riches is intelligence. The biggest destitution is foolishness.
Okay. أغنى الغني العقل. The richest thing that you can have is your aql. The poorest thing that you can have, أكبر الفقر. The poorest thing that you can have is being foolish. Al-humq. Al-humq, al-ahmaq means being foolish. I'm not going to use that word that I used a few nights ago, but that's what it is, pretty much. The most poorest of things that a person can have is that. Carry on.
The most wild of the wild is vanity, and the best achievement is goodness of the moral character.
Akramul hasab, husnul khuluq. Carry on.
O my son, you should avoid making friends with a fool, because if he intends to benefit you, he will harm you.
Stay away from a foolish person, because although they think that they're doing good for you, they are rather doing a lot of damage.
You should avoid making friends with a miser, because he will run away from you when you need him the most.
What's a miser? A stingy person, a greedy person, a bakhil person. Why should you stay away from a greedy, stingy person? Because when you need them, they are nowhere to be found. So why do you want to befriend such a person?
You should avoid making friends with a sinful person, because he will sell you for naught.
Basically, this means إياك ومصادقة الفاجر. Stay away from an immoral person, a sinning person, someone who sins regularly. Don't be their friend, because they will sell you for pretty much nothing.
And you should avoid making friends with a liar, because he is like a mirage, making you see far things as near and near things as far.
Who knows what a mirage is? Nobody? In Melbourne? Do you know what a mirage is? No? Really? How about you, Wildcats? Do you know what a mirage is? No? How about you? Yeah? Yeah, he's saying, yeah, Puma? Yeah? Have you seen one? Good. Mirage. Making you see far things as near and near things as far. Next is wise saying number 269, which is, again, Imam Ali is giving his son Imam Hassan advice about friends. Friendship is really, really important for us, especially for younger boys and girls. You have to be very, very selective with your friends. Why? In Arabic, friend means sadiq. And the hadith says, al-sadiq saduq, that a friend, because in Arabic, sidq means truthful. A friend needs to be truthful, which basically means that they're always going to be honest and truthful to you, giving you advice when needed, right? And this is where, unfortunately, in a lot of cases, we can see that some people are not very wise when it comes to their friends. Now, how about in our social interaction when we have, people around us and we probably have a friend or probably have an enemy? Imam Ali here, he says, أحبب حبيبك هونا. When you have a good relation with someone, don't go all the way, because maybe that friend of yours one day could become an enemy. وَابْغِضْ بَغِيضَكَ هَوْنًا. And your enemy, don't hate your enemy too much, because one day he could become your friend. And this happens very frequently, doesn't it? Where there's someone who you despise for whatever reason, personal reason or whatever, and then after 5 years or after 10 years, all of a sudden they become your good, close friend. And sometimes there's someone who you hate and you've had a fallout with them, and there are many issues that you have with them, and someone that you really, really, for example, good friends, but now all of a sudden you have a big, very ugly fallout and you break away from them, and they carry all of your secrets that you have confided in them, which is not good.
Have love for your friend up to a limit, for it is possible that he may turn into your enemy someday. And hate your enemy up to a limit, for it is possible that he may turn into your friend someday.
Imam Ali here is giving us beautiful advice and saying we have to always make sure that we set boundaries for ourselves and for others as well, whether they are friends of us or whether they are our enemies, whoever they may be. And finally, I just randomly selected these 5 sayings from Imam Ali, just to give another taste of what you will hopefully be reading when you go through Nahj-ul-Balaghah, inshallah.
The biggest wealth is that one should not have an eye on what others possess.
Why do you always look at what others have? Why can't you just be content with what you have? Richness of your heart is the greatest wealth. You could have millions of dollars, all of the wealth, but if you are faqir and poor in your heart, you'll always want more from what is in the hands of others. And this is why, from this saying, we can understand that you need to feel wealthy within yourself by not looking at what others have, not comparing what others have. You have a rundown Toyota. Why are you always looking at the other person who just bought a Tesla or this or that or any of these other examples that we are simply able to give? Next one, please.
Someone uttered an expression above his status.
Someone said, in the presence of Imam Ali, someone said something that is above their pay grade, above their age. They said something way more than what they can swallow. And Imam Ali shut that person down. Right? Why are you laughing? Yeah. Carry on. Yes, read it out.
Imam Ali alayhi salam said, "You have started flying soon after growing feathers and commenced grumbling before attaining youth."
Yeah, you're still a jujay. You're still a little duckling, and you are saying things that are way above your age. No, act your age. Speak according to your knowledge that you have, and don't say things that are way above and beyond you.
Whoever clashes with the truth will be knocked down by it.
You fight against the truth will slap you down. Whoever clashes with the truth will be knocked down by the truth.
The heart is the book of the eye.
This is a beautiful hadith. If you memorize it in Arabic, it's also really, really good. I am against tattoos, but if you want to get a tattoo, this would be a nice tattoo to have. I shouldn't even be saying that, shouldn't I? No. Right. It's like only God can judge, you know, what people say that. Anyway, no one get any idea that Sheikh spoke about this, and yeah. Next, please. The heart is the book of the eye. Your heart is what is going to reveal everything in what it is that your eye sees. Your eye sees good, that will reflect on your heart of goodness. Your eye sees bad, that will pollute your heart with badness as well. So the door to your heart is your eye. And the last one.
It is enough for your own discipline that you abstain from what you dislike from others.
If you want to learn what discipline means, if you want to learn what self-discipline is, it's sufficient, it's enough for you to discipline yourself purely by just staying away from what it is that you dislike others doing to you. If there are things that others do to you that you don't like, don't do it, and that would be the best of discipline in how you're able to discipline yourself. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So, alhamdulillah, we have covered parts of the wise sayings of Imam Ali in Nahj-ul-Balaghah, and inshallah this will, as I said, be an opportunity for all of us to venture into this very important book and read into it as much as we are able to, and also benefit from it, inshallah. There were questions that were asked from last session that I wasn't able to answer, and I'll be doing that now. Anyone who has a comment or a question or something to say, just grab the microphone and you can say it. But the topic that we were speaking about was on parenting and the skill of how to parent children and teenagers. And it is a very, very important topic that we all need to be benefiting and learning from. How can you stay connected to Allah in modern days as teenagers. So this is, of course, where we're able to see that a young teenager, a young boy, a young girl is like a sponge, absorbing everything around him or her. When I was giving the presentation, I spoke about why it is that we need to occupy ourselves with creating a positive Islamic environment around us. And this can only happen if we are more attentive and aware of our duties, that we have a sense of pride in our culture and our heritage, that we make sure that we don't live a double standard life, that we don't live two types of lives, how we are at home and how we are at school or university. That's very, very damaging. It's not good for you. Be who you are, because that's what is going to bring you dignity and self-value and self-respect. In today's modern age, there are many, many challenges, and we are able to easily overcome them if we were to prioritize our religion, if we become God-centric. God-centric means that we centralize Allah in all of our decisions. In everything that we do, we put God first. For example, you're planning to go out today. Where have you put your prayer in your plan? Have you made sure that you have taken care of all the contingencies in making yourself ready for your prayer when it is prayer time, keeping yourself tahir, making sure that you have, for example, a prayer mat and a stone and everything else, all these things that make you know that you are prioritizing your religion before anything else, before everything else. Your daily routine and your choices, your decisions that you make. And this is the best way on how you can stay connected with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anyone has any questions or any issues to add from what we were speaking about from last night? Are there any messages sent or no? Sorry? Last week, sorry. Okay, so if we don't have anyone, yes. Walaikum salam. Disrespect. Yeah, so I think this is a very important social issue that unfortunately many of us have to go through when we are invited by someone. Instead of us feeling that we are being honored by the invitation, we feel it to be a burden, where we're put in a very difficult predicament, where if we had a pre-planned program and we're not able to go to this invitation and we have to decline this invitation, we know that it will erupt into something very, very dangerous, scary, breaking of relationships, breaking of ties. So what do we do in this kind of situation? First of all, when it comes to someone wanting to invite someone else, it needs to be such that they are doing so with a lot of love and respect for that particular person. and not in it being some kind of duty and obligation where the other person is also obliged to accept the invitation under whatever circumstances they may have. That's not being realistic. That's also not being fair. That's being selfish. If you already have a pre-planned program and you have to decline the invitation, try to do so in a very respectable, polite way so as not to create any kind of altercation or anything that would lead to, criticism, or maybe even trying to ruin your reputation by saying you were very disrespectful and insulting of us because you did not come to the invitation. We need to be considerate from both sides, trying to accommodate to those who are around us, either in accepting or in inviting ourselves. Sa'atul sadr is really, really important, to have more tolerance with those people who are around us. If no one has any questions, then I've read all the questions that we have here. I think we should finish off. Yes? Did you have a question?
If we like if it's not Imam Ali's shahadat, and we like do our election when it's the shahadat, what happens if we don't wear black shirt or black anything?
Thank you. So if it's not the shahada, or if it is the shahada? If it's not the shahada?
No, if it is the shahada.
If it is the shahada, of course, we all know that it has become a custom for us as Shia Muslims, when there is a sad event, a shahada anniversary of any of our ma'sumin or extended members of Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam, or even if it is one of our own family members who has passed away, wearing black is highly recommended. There is istihbab in wearing black. Outside of shahada events, outside of a sad ceremony of Ahlul Bayt, for men, it is makruh to wear black, ya baqir. So, the only exemption, I had to say that, didn't I? The only exemption for wearing black are a few. Number one is hijab. If women choose to wear black as hijab, that is exempted and it is not makruh. Number two, a turban, a imamah, wearing black, it is also exempted from the karahiyah. Number three, a abaya, this is what we call a abaya, abba, that is also exempted from being makruh. And number four is in commemorating, mourning, showing grief to Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam. Other than this, our fuqaha say that it is makruh to wear black. So on the day of the shahada, if you don't have black, if you don't have any black clothes, are you doing anything wrong or bad? No. But it's not good to wear, for example, colorful clothes or red clothes or something like that, because socially it might not be accepted.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Just have a question that several of the scholars that are, you can say, back home, not living here, have highlighted so many times that the people living outside, they have gone overseas. There is very rare chance for them to survive on the right path, right? Especially after the 2 generations or so. Based on what experience they have, based on their visit overseas, having interaction with the people overseas, right? And having gone through some of the experiences. But what we see here that the ulama living here, they don't much address these things that what we have experienced in a true sense, you can say, up to that severity level that has been, you can say, highlighted by the scholars from our, you can say, parent country. Thank you.
So I'm sure you do know that there is a fiqhi matter related to this, and that's called al-ta'arrub ba'd al-hijrah. And basically it means if someone migrates knowing that they are going to lose levels of their faith and probably lose their forthcoming generations in being absorbed with a non-Islamic environment, then that is a major sin. It is haram, and a person must return back to their place of origin. This is the fiqhi ruling that all of our fuqaha have mentioned, al-ta'arrub ba'd al-hijrah. We know, of course, that in most cases, our parents, those of the first generation, chose to migrate to Western countries due to whatever reasons, either it being a place of war or avoiding persecution or some kind of choosing to live a more stable life away from fear, financial issues, and whatnot. However, even with that excuse, which is indeed valid from a fiqhi perspective, it still does not justify a person not being cautious and careful about how their children, their forthcoming generation, will turn out to be. If I am not able to secure a certain level of preserving my child and my grandchildren's religious identity, it is definitely haram for me to stay in this country. This is a taklif, wajib aini taklif, that each and every one of us have. If I am not able to facilitate to creating an environment for my child to adopt and keep his or her Islamic identity, then it will become wajib for me to return back to my country of origin. This, I would say, is always addressed, in my opinion, from what I see. It's always addressed where ulama coming to various countries in the West remind the mu'mineen of their duty of making sure that they tend to the needs and the requirements of their children. With all the distractions that we have with your mortgage, with your work, with other issues and challenges that we have in this society, we always need to remember that our priority needs to be in preserving the identity, the religious Islamic identity of our children. Now, some people might take extreme understanding of this. Some might say that no, it is impossible for anyone on any level to keep their children safe from the infiltration of Western values and Western ideology, and therefore it is haram in all circumstances. And there are people who do say that it is haram in all circumstances for a Muslim to live in non-Muslim land. My counter argument to that is, are you saying that every single person in your city, your Islamic city that you live in, is 100% religious and pious and righteous? Because if you say yes, that's not the truth. Because even in the holiest of places, unfortunately, we have good examples and we also have bad examples. We have good youth and we also have bad youth. We have good parents and we also have bad parents as well. So the same way as there being challenges in this side of the world, there are also challenges in that side of the world, because we live now in a global village. With this globalization, West has become mixed with the East, and East has become mixed with the West. Those of you who lived here in Australia in the 80s and in the early 90s will remember that there was no Islamic environment in Australia. That's outside of, for example, one or two mosques, Shi'i mosques, in all of Australia, we didn't have anything. It was very rare to see, things like hijab or halal places and things like that. But now, alhamdulillah, we have a variety of options that we can use to our advantage in securing the religious identity of our children. And we also have religious freedom as well. Are there challenges? There are indeed many, many challenges. Are we able to overcome them in learning the correct methods of parenting? Yes, we are. Unfortunately, we are not united as well. It is shameful, isn't it, that in some cities, in some states, there are still struggling to make one Islamic Shi'i school. Whereas when you compare this to, for example, Sunni schools, there are literally tens of them, so many options and varieties, and we're still struggling to create one because of the conflict and the disagreements on what it is that is happening between the different groups, unfortunately. Hopefully I addressed your question. Okay, if your parent is a narcissist, if your mother is a narcissist, what do you do when she is making your life difficult? Unfortunately, we can't choose who our parents are. And narcissism is a very large word because, of course, maybe if the father is demanding and having a lot of issues and always, being in control, it might not mean that they are narcissistic. It might mean that they just have a different mindset, that they grew up in a different generation, and that their way of expression is very different to your way of expression. A lot of cases we all know is in previous generations, people were learnt and taught to box their feelings, to not express their feelings. So in a lot of cases, you don't want to be saying things to those, because that will kind of show weakness in your personality. That's very disappointing, isn't it? But that's how they grew up. That's how they lived. Parents, in a lot of cases, lived through a lot of difficulties. Parents in those eras are different to parents of this era. Generations of the past are different to generations of today. Gen Z and Gen X and Gen Y, all these different generations are different. So I would not use this word narcissistic parents unless it is medically diagnosed by a psychologist that this person is a narcissist. I would rather try to accommodate to what this parent is saying, doing dua, asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to alleviate my situation and give me some kind of rest away from this difficulty that I am facing when it comes to my parents. Even in the case of one having a narcissistic parent, it still does not justify your insolence or your disobedience or your disrespect, it still does not allow you to abuse verbally, emotionally, unfortunately, even at times physically, your parents. You need to try to stay obedient, neutral, avoid escalating the situation with your parents, and even if you have to, try to avoid any unnecessary interaction to stay away from the problems. Could you please tell the age of Bibi Khadija at the time of marriage with the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? I covered this question last night as well. Please, if it's still online, you can go back to last night's lecture, and I spoke about that in detail. If we don't have any more questions, we will finish off with ziyarah, inshallah. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Jazakallah.
Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Ulama, I want to say some thanks for this session.
Please recite salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum.
On behalf of Panjatan Society Victoria, Sheikh, we would like to extend our gratitude to you for the lectures that you've delivered and the workshops that you've presented. It's been a very, very good experience. I know, as I think I mentioned to you, I haven't been able to sit inside the hall myself on all occasions, but I've been around and I've been listening wherever I can and then following up afterwards. And it's been very, very engaging, and it's very much appreciated. On behalf of all of Panjatan Society, we'd like to extend our gratitude to you for your time and for your guidance, especially as well as the questions that you've answered. I'd request everybody to please recite salawat for Sheikh Zaid, so that may he continue to be blessed and with health and with prosperity. Salawat.
Thank you. Thank you all very much. Inshallah.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله. السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله. السلام عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين. السلام عليك يا ابن فاطمة الزهراء سيدتي نساء العالمين. السلام عليك يا أبا الفضل عباس. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا غريب الغرباء. السلام عليك يا معين الضعفاء والفقراء. السلام عليك يا شمس الشموس. السلام عليك يا عنيس النفوس. السلام عليك يا مدفون بأرزتوس. السلطان عربي والعجم وعسيران الكوفة الشام ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا ساهب العصر والضمان. الأمان الأمان على عمان. السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن. السلام عليك يا مظهر الإيمان. السلام عليك يا إمام الإنس والجان. أجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله تعالى مخرجك وظهورك ورحمة الله وبركاته.
हज़रात उम्मीद कल 7:15 पे कुरान खानी का आगाज़ हो जाएगा, तो आप लोगों से गुजारिश है वक्त की पाबंदी के साथ शिरकत फरमाएं। 7:15 पे कुरान खानी से सिलसिला स्टार्ट हो जाएगा। 7:15 के बाद यानी कुरान खानी के बाद नमाज-ए-मग़रिबैन, उसके बाद इफ्तार, उसके बाद अमाल और फिर मजलिस होगी। तो आप लोगों से गुजारिश है वक्त की पाबंदी के साथ शिरकत फरमाएं, अपने बच्चों को भी लेकर आएँ ताकि वो कुरान खानी में शरीक हो सकें। शुक्रिया।